Hey everybody, how's it going? So I don't want to make this channel the Candace Owens reply channel or anything like that. But right now, news is pretty dead for, it's a Sunday. And there's so much news to cover when it comes to Candace Owens. It's pretty crazy. All these people are freaking out. They're tearing everybody apart. Everybody is picking a side. And while I've kind of chosen my side, not necessarily by choice, but simply because Candace Owens has failed to prove anything and she's pointing the finger at everyone. Literally everyone. When Candace has the most shady history out of anybody that she's talking about. It's pretty crazy stuff. If you're new here, Candace Owens, in 2016, started a company called Degree 180. Created a website called Social Autopsy, where she was doxing children for being mean. She was a self-admitted leftist. A few months later, after everybody called her out for it, she didn't like that very much, so she flipped over and became right-wing, starting a channel called Red Pill Black. Okay? Blair White called her out on this and had a debate on Dave Rubin's show, where Candace refused to apologize ever for doing the, crime of doxing. Not more of a figurative crime, not actually illegal. But you hear what I'm saying, right? Because I don't think doxing is still illegal, which is kind of wild. But at the end of the day, Candace has been burning bridges with every single person, every single company, and people are not paying attention to that. Everywhere she goes, she gets into a fight with someone and burns the bridge. And as Candace likes to say, I'm the common denominator. Well, yeah, you are. You are the common denominator. So anyway, let's get into what Steven Crowder had to say here, because this is the first time I'm really hearing somebody at this level finally saying what I've been saying for the past, 6 weeks.
So if the Trump administration, if the Fed killed Charlie Kirk, look, there's no middle ground here right now. Either Erica Kirk is evil and was in on it, or Candace Owens is an evil cunt.
That's a great way to actually phrase it. That's so much simpler than the way I've been phrasing it. Here's the fact, guys. Let me break it down for you, okay? This might not make a lot of sense to a lot of Candace fans, so I am going to explain very simply, okay? There is not a world possible where TPUSA betrayed Charlie Kirk, where the succession was apparently not real according to Candace, and the diaries of the succession of who was supposed to step into what role if anything happened to him, were not real, because he was this very, very intelligent guy who would have just done this through a lawyer instead of through his wife. But here's the thing. Those diaries had Erica Kirk step up to CEO, which she did. And if that wasn't Charlie's wish, why would she do it? There's only one other possible way, and that's if Erica Kirk was unwillingly doing what she's doing. In other words, being held hostage. But that would still mean that she is actively following and knows that TPUSA betrayed her husband. Right? So why would Candace ever come out and say she doesn't believe that? It doesn't make a lot of sense. Well, I could tell you why. I can make it make sense for you guys. Because she knows if she attacks Erica Kirk, she will lose her audience. That's the only possible reason why. Now, think about it for a second. Is that who you want to get your information from? Someone who is more worried about optics and how big their audience is, instead of actually telling the exact truth as to how she sees it? There's not a world where you can believe TPUSA betrayed Charlie Kirk and Erica Kirk wasn't part of it. It's not possible. It's impossible. Because Charlie Kirk would have told his wife the plans if he was ended. And he knew it was all too real of a possibility. And especially according to Candace, even though she didn't show direct proof by her own words of what Charlie said about his dreams and him thinking that he would be martyred. Okay? Yes, she did show texts. But by her own standards, she said that those texts are fake unless they have a date and a timestamp. Well, she only showed a timestamp, but she never showed a date. That's what she said about Tyler Robinson's texts. Well, it was fake because there weren't any dates or timestamps. Well, she released texts without a date or timestamp Then later on, she would kind of scroll through her phone and didn't really let people look at it very well, which is suspicious. And then she held it over and she only showed timestamps, but not dates. They were supposed to be from 2018. I have a feeling if she showed us the actual date, it might not have said 2018. It probably would have said 2025. But we'll never know. We'll never know because for some reason, she decided not to show the date. Which is weird because she's the one who said if there's not a date, it's fake. I don't know. I'm just holding her to her standard, right?
I hope I'm being really clear about that. And saying, well, she didn't connect all the dots just is not an excuse when there is a grieving family right now who's not just left holding the bag, but you know very well will put Erica Kirk in the crosshairs. Yeah. Let me ask you this. If you were killed, and someone out there for clicks, clickbait, headlines, went out and espoused conspiracy theories with zero evidence that put your wife or your husband in the crosshairs, where you knew after you had passed that the person you love was going to have to deal with fallout and accusations of killing you and villainized, it'd probably be as close to coming back as a haunting as you could possibly hope for, right? Either Erica Kirk is in on this, and just to be clear, that's obviously rhetoric. Of course she's not. And of course there's no evidence that she was.
Agreed, 100%. I am fully on that team. Until there's actual evidence, why would we ever say something like that? Seriously, Candace is completely off of her rocker. She's completely insane to suggest something like that. And I'm surprised Erica Kirk isn't coming out and saying anything about this yet either, other than, maybe it's a little too painful to do so. Maybe it's just so egregious, Erica's like, I can't deal with that. So, at the end of the day, it's really, really, really disturbing. I really wish something would come out, but so far, Candace Owens hasn't produced any kind of evidence. And again, I've had people already come into my comments today and start talking about Rob McCoy as if I didn't talk about it last video, which tells me that Candace fans aren't actually watching my videos. Because he's sitting there talking about, how do you explain Rob McCoy? And it's like, I went over that. I'm not going over it again in the comment section. It's literally a 15-minute video. It's not that hard to find. Control F under the transcript down when you click in the description. And you can find, just type in Rob McCoy, and you can see all the times I mention him. It's pretty simple. Do that, go to that timestamp, and then literally listen to what I said about it. It's very simple, but they're not willing to do that.
And of course, there will be some very unstable people, which is by design from Candace, who will accuse me of being paid by the Trump administration or Mossad or whatever it is. Insert all the crap here.
So many different areas. So many different areas of what they're going to, blame. They're going to say I'm receiving a $7,000 check as well. A guy with almost 17,000 subscribers. Help me get to 17,000, guys. I would greatly appreciate it. I'd like to hit 20,000 by the end of the month. That'd be amazing. Tomorrow's my birthday, so, just birthday wishes possibly, they could be granted. All I would want for you guys is to subscribe and like, and that's really it. And, this is the thing, guys. At the end of the day, with Candace Owens going off, this is the best she has right here. The reaction to Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and Tucker Carlson right now reminds me of the way leftists treated people who question the Koof narrative. And she's like, this is so true. Only an evil person would question the absurd COVID narrative because grandmas are dying is the exact same energy if only an evil person would ask questions about absurd Charlie narrative while his family is grieving, emotional manipulation. Well, here's the problem with that, Candace. We haven't locked down our country since we've had technology like this, okay? We just haven't. We don't ever lock down our country. We've only done it once in the past for the Spanish flu. And that was it. We have never done it since because it didn't work. That's why. That's why we haven't done it since. Out of H1N1, any of those other sicknesses that cropped up, we did not lock down our country because it didn't work. So, naturally, we had history to go off of to be like, hey, if we do this again, it's not going to actually be good. And we did do it again. And we actually did it much, much worse and much longer than the first time we did it. And it was a disaster. And in the middle of us doing that, we were questioning it for the course of 2 years going, this isn't working, this isn't working, this isn't working. People are actually getting screwed over by this. How can you compare a situation like that to this right here when we haven't even had the trial yet, Candace? These are, again, She's comparing apples to oranges. They have nothing to do with each other. It's fine to question everything that happened with Charlie Kirk. It's not okay to be pointing your finger at people with no evidence, which is what Candace Owens has been doing. She is literally taking the leftist stance where she's not actually arguing what people are arguing. She's not arguing it at all. Not even a little bit. She is arguing past them, and she keeps blaming it on questioning. Nobody is getting onto her for questioning the motive. Nobody's blaming her for questioning if Tyler Robinson was the one who did it or not. Nobody's questioning her for that. Nobody's giving her crap for that. What they're giving her crap for is her saying TPUSA did it. Israel did it. Trump did it. The FBI did it. Egypt did it. Come on, guys. TPUSA did it. I think I said them. I don't know. It's interesting. How many different hands were involved in this, and yet she cannot provide a single shred of proof. I'm tired of it. I am genuinely tired of it, you know? Candace Owens converted to Christianity just a few years ago, and now she's calling lifelong Christians like Allie Beth Stuckley fake Christians. She is a fraud. I agree. Because she couldn't even get her own crucifix correct. When she said, this is proof he's wearing a Christian cross and saying St. Michael is his armor. You mean the angel? You mean the number one archangel, the most powerful archangel that's in every single book of the Bible? Do you think that's Catholic only? Okay, he was wearing a Christian cross, not a crucifix, but somehow those two together equal Charlie Kirk was actually converting to Catholicism? And then you all play a 2-second clip of him saying, go Max, and that's also somehow anti-Israel and pro-Catholicism? It doesn't make any sense. It makes absolutely zero sense. That's my issue with Candace Owens. She hasn't proven a single thing. And for some reason, all these people are now jumping to her defense saying, well, you haven't proved that she's lying. You haven't proved that she's lying. And it's like, I don't have to. That's not my job. She has to prove that she's not lying. She has to provide evidence. She can't just come out and say that people did something without proof. Why are right-wing people doing the exact same thing that the left is doing right now? Oh, I gotta follow Sean Ryan there. Why? I don't understand that. We've never acted like that. How is this possible? Guys, evidence first. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. I don't have to prove Candace wrong. She has to prove her claim right. She made the claim. She needs to back it. Anyway, guys, tell me what you all think down in the comment section below. Please like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you guys here in the next one. Later.